All right.
Oh my god. Wait, that means live.
Yeah, we're live. You there?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, it's like your internet's fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh
my god.
Yeah, we can manage. It's like there's not a whole lot to talk about today, but like I want to talk about a few things before they go out of style, I guess. I know that one particular mess is nearing. I mean, it's certainly at its boiling point right now, from what I've seen in the last couple of days. But we'll get to that soon. Welcome to the Monkey Bar. This is episode 77, and I mean, you guys already know what we're going to talk about, judging by the thumbnail, the meme that we're going to be dogpiling on before it gets stale.
You know us. We have to get that meme. It's so fresh, it's almost slightly decayed.
Yes, I'm sure that Zach just said something. I'm sure that you said something witty right now. So just use your imagination and laugh to yourselves. I want to talk about a good game that I played just recently. Half-Life Opposing Force.
How is that?
It's pretty good. It's well, I mean, it's famously. I think it's probably the most well received of the Half-Life expansion packs. This one was done by Gearbox, so Randy Pitchford worked on this, and I guess some now former Gearbox staff now. I don't know, I don't really see the hype around it, to be honest. I can see a lot of Borderlands in Opposing Force. Everybody says, this is before they went to shit, and I'm like, yeah, it's still a good expansion, but there are some parts of it that feel very, I don't know, unintuitive, not exactly as precise as the mainline games. I mean, the mainline Half-Life games.
I always like Gearbox's stuff. It's a recent game. Remember, did they make Bulletstorm?
Yeah, they made Bulletstorm.
God, I love that game. It's weird. I like that game. I'm not sure how popular it is, but I did like it.
I think it has a cult following.
Yeah, you can tell. The weird pulpy game. Yep, Zach likes it.
Yeah, they made a remastered version of it, and they added Duke Nukem. So it's a playable character. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I would like to.
I haven't had a job in years.
Speaking of Duke Nukem, I saw a post by H Doom guy. He was replaying Duke Nukem 3D, and he was noting how the earlier games, they play the story straight. It's not as tongue in cheek as the later installments, which I found interesting.
Yeah, aside his quipping, from my knowledge, they actually played the aliens to be kind of horrifying.
Yeah. Even they got our babes thing. It's based off of actual sci-fi movies that played it straight back in the day.
Aliens, they have one episode in 3D where they have a lady give birth and the alien rips through her.
Yeah,
that stuck with me as a kid.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I had played, those the old games when I was growing up. Maybe I would have a better appreciation for, because I think that the first time I played the original Doom, I was, I think, 17 or 18, and I didn't really like them. I didn't really get into Doom until Brutal Doom, which fixed a lot of the issues I had with it.
Oh, I love Brutal Doom.
Yeah.
Too bad the creator's kind of a dick, but I also kind of like his games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, H Doom.
Too bad you can't cross those over. I'm kidding. That's horrible.
I actually saw the H Doom guy was working on a RPG Maker game that looks really good.
What?
Yeah, if you look at his Twitter, which I think is just at H Doom guy, he's been toying around with RPG Maker MV, the latest installment, and he's been making custom sprites for his game, or at least a concept of a game. I think it is a full-fledged game that he's working on though, and the sprite work looks great. Like it's very like yeah, I would like to see it finished as a full game. I would definitely buy it. I mean, if he's planning on selling it.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I always liked the old Doom style of sprites. I think that would be a cool aesthetic to use for like even maybe a comic. Somehow do a sprite-based comic.
Yeah, it would be neat to see like a Doom style first-person shooter done in voxels to like replicate 3D pixel art or something.
Oh,
I know that there have been stuff like that, like retro type games like that. I think there actually is a game in VR that sort of captures that sort of pixel art, but with 3D. I can't remember the name of it though. I know that Vinesauce played it recently.
I also like have you ever heard of
Void
of Bastards?
Void Bastards?
It's a Void Bastards. I think it's called. It's a game. Jim Sterling covered it. Yeah, it's where it has this old comic aesthetic that I adore. Like they make it look like the art of the 2D characters is translated almost perfectly to the 3D characters. Yeah, I apologize.
But speaking of comic video games, that just makes you think of Infamous, how they did the cutscenes in Infamous 1 and 2.
Oh, I love those. Imagine if that style in the comics is how the characters looked though.
Yeah, it would be neat if they did like a spin-off of Infamous. I mean, another spin-off, or I guess Second Son was a sequel, so like a technical sequel / soft reboot almost. But yeah, if they did like a spin-off for I don't know, there like the Vita, like there is no I think they discontinued the Vita. So I was gonna say if Sony had another portable console or like a portable console to go along with the PS5, then maybe they could do like a Infamous spin-off that's in the comic style, maybe like a 2D game or like I don't know. I just want to see more Infamous games. They just kind of abandoned the franchise after the First Light, which is the DLC for Second Son.
I would like to see an Infamous game where maybe you pick 3 powers at the beginning, but your character, I forget their term, Conduin.
Yeah.
Is unusual in that their power could be like a power. Oh wait, that's Second Son's plot. But you're basically a power thief,
right?
Or maybe you have to pick one power, but you evolve it.
Yeah, I would actually just like to see like a game like that. Not even just an Infamous game, but one where like being the bad guy is like. It's just as enticing as like being the hero. Because like I don't know, whenever I'm like in Infamous or I guess Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic, like those types of games where you have the good bad karma meter. It's like you're either like if you want to be the bad guy, you get the powers, but you have to be a total dick to do it. And I'm like, I don't want I want to feel justified in being a dick. And in those types of games, you never really feel justified in being a dick, because I think in Second Son, you get like the first choice you get is turn yourself in or sacrifice your entire fucking family to the military, and it's like like why would I want to do that? Like maybe if you'd gotten like more like if your family was more of like a dick to you in the beginning, then it's like, oh, I don't give a shit about you. Or if it's like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, I get you. Like BioShock. The whole plot. Kill kids for no real gain. Or
like a slight gain that doesn't really affect the difficulty at all. Yeah. It's like you need more of a reason.
I had this idea of an RPG that I'm making a tabletop RPG, but if I made a game based on it, my idea for moral conflict is presented as the evil option is justified in the fact that it's survival of your species.
Yeah.
like the Goblin Slayer argument.
Mhm.
If you don't kill them, who will?
Yeah.
I apologize.
That's fine. There was a I don't know. I want to keep talking about good video games until we get to the eventual spotlights of this episode, because it's just a really depressing and enraging subject. So I was thinking, like, one of the ideas you mentioned, like the title of that game you mentioned had the word bastard in it. It made me think of like I was thinking about video games that I would want to make, and other than that psychic first-person shooter idea I had, it was like, I was gonna like think about retooling that one idea I had for a Bubsy sort of a God of War mashup. It'd be called like the title I thought was Cat Bastard. Where you play as like a
Oh my god.
like a wild cat who like the primary function for like restoring your health is after you kill the enemies, you eat them. But I want to like try to sidestep the vor part of that as much as possible, but I don't think that's really going to be possible with if I'm going to go with an anthropomorphic cat main character. Yeah, that silence speaks volumes, doesn't it?
I had this. I'm sorry, but like, if you do that, you have to make it slightly about the console.
About the what?
Each character has their own console, and when you kill them, your game goes to their console. Meta plot. That's my shitpost idea.
Yeah. But yeah, that's I guess a long ways away. I want to just like focus on my current projects before I get sidetracked with anything else. Right now, I've actually printed out a schedule of when to work on my projects. I've been lagging a bit last couple days, but I'm going to kick it into high gear tomorrow. I've just been focusing solely on the comic script, and my goal is to write 100 pages by the end of the week.
I can wish. I've been trying to get that high up in writing. It's been difficult, but I've been kind of getting there. Not that high, but I mean, getting better.
Yeah. Have you considered going on the Pocket Jack stream?
I'm gonna do it when my comic. I want to get. I'm doing the cardinal sin of writing. I'm editing the first chapter again, but I won't bring it in.
Right.
Remember the first fight?
Mm-hmm.
Joe brought up the extremely good point of making the fights a bit more of a focus. So I'm making it maybe even 2 to 3 pages of the first scene. It's them driving, then they get caught up in the fight because the monsters fight down the highway.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I might avoid I might avoid bringing my script in for review, just to knock out like 100 pages and worry about editing it after that.
I like to bring mine in once, then get it finished, then bring it in again to see how they like it. Because you said they brought you extremely good advice.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Can I tell you about the orcs thing, but verbally over the podcast?
Definitely, yeah.
Orcs was trending on Twitter. I'm an RPG nerd. I got excited. So I click on there, and apparently orcs are now racial stereotypes. What the fuck?
Yeah. Well,
and now,
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, it's funny because like I was watching last night or like earlier this morning, I think, Google Stadia, they had their announcements, and right at the end of the announcement was Orcs Must Die 3.
I bet, I watched for Twitter, like, I was waiting for, like, people to drop it on them, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, my favorite bullshit is, like, people now saying, quote, this is a direct quote, I don't know who needs to hear this, but D&D is a right-wing fantasy with a coat of paint on it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh my fucking god. By the way, probably the best thing about this whole skin, or this whole show is that I'm getting blocked on by people on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
Some people who have minor clout in the RPG industry.
Hmm. I mean, at that point, like, at what point do you just cut your losses and just build your own industry?
Yes. Oh my god. It's it actually provoked a response somewhat akin to something you would do, I think.
Hmm. Oh, really?
I'm deciding to make my own RPG where
Hmm.
killing orcs and goblins isn't just a thing you can do, it's something you should do.
Hmm.
I'm I kind of want to try and do the any press is good press,
Yeah.
lure them in with the controversy
Hmm.
and
I mean,
stay
you're
for the hopefully decent writing.
yeah. I mean, you're probably in a good position to do that because you like live in the middle of the woods with probably 10 guns buried under your porch. If anybody tries to like kick down your
9 guns.
door, if like anybody tries to kick down your door, you just go down to the basement with a sledgehammer, just like dig out your crate of armaments.
I just want to picture one of these guys kick the door down and look up, and they just see my giant, like it's like an anime boss when they like the Dark Souls boss, the giant one.
Mm-hmm. You can just hear the music right now.
It's just a Godzilla soundtrack over and over. Oh
Uh-huh.
my god. My favorite thing is apparently I'm an incel and a chud. Isn't Chud a horror movie?
uh, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds like it is. Name sounds
Oh
familiar.
yeah. It was the movie Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller, apparently.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, someone called me that.
Yeah. Was that in the 80s?
Yes. And it had the sequel Bud the Chud, according
Okay.
to Google.
It seems like the
God.
80s were like
84.
yeah, like I want to say like late 80s and early 90s was the era of like acronym movies and TV shows. Because I think about the Mask animated series, not the Mask, but Mask.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. And I'm going to Google it as I talk because I haven't thought about that in years.
Yeah, I bet if I brought it up with Tim Lim, he would know exactly what I was talking about.
No, I know that. It's by Kenner, right?
Yeah,
What was the mobile from?
yeah, mobile attack.
Wasn't the villain Strike Command?
Mm-hmm.
I think for bad guys it was called Venom.
Okay.
This is me going off like thoughts I haven't thought about in years.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just
I kind of wish that I could have made an 80s toy line.
hmm.
I probably would have. Man, I could have been a good writer for trauma films.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you want to make movies off of crap, you have to make a Fortnite ripoff on the Android store.
God.
And I don't think you have. I think you have too much dignity to do that.
You say that, but I was considering like, do I write? Do I write a Minecraft book on Amazon?
Oh
I
yeah.
decided not to.
Mhm.
I thought about that for much longer than I would honestly like to admit.
Aren't there like orc creatures in Minecraft?
There's just pigs, and then they have evil pigs now. That's all I know.
Right. Because I'm thinking like you write a Minecraft fan fiction book on Amazon, but in the last chapter, it's like a orc genocide at the end. Like they go into the Nether and they just like napalm the shit out of them with lava.
Well, they live in the Nether, if I remember, and I hate that I know that.
Yeah.
My kind of idea, though, for the tabletop thing, I had this nuanced idea, so people wouldn't think I'm, completely evil. Is that you kind of get the idea that by the final chapter, because it's written in characters, oh fuck, the narrators may not be entirely good themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the Empire versus, the Klingon, basically.
Yeah. I remember you had that short story of the goblins in the swamp, the Gluck Gluck stuff.
Yeah, oh fuck, I should reuse some of that.
Hmm.
Yeah. For context, I had this story where my goblins made a croaking noise, like cluck, cluck.
Mm-hmm.
It was their kind of breathing system I planned
Hmm.
because they were partially amphibious.
Yeah.
God. So you want to talk about a round of golf?
Yeah, let's let's jump into the speaking of muck, let's jump into that. The Last of Us 2 has finally been released on YouTube. It's a daring move by Naughty Dog, but certainly progressive, seeing that, as they desperately want to move away from video games. Yeah, some beloved employees of Naughty Dog have decided to put it up on YouTube for free to watch for everybody, and it looks like it looks like ass. Looks just awful. And from what I've heard, I haven't actually seen. I mean, I'm sort of invalidating my own statement there, but from what I've seen, from what little I've seen, because I haven't watched the full videos, I think are all taken down by now because Naughty Dog made a public statement on Twitter. But yeah, they basically showed the whole game through the cutscenes and gameplay and all the way to the ending. And yeah, I don't know what you've heard about it.
I haven't heard anything because spoilers are open, right?
Yeah.
I'm kidding, but yeah, everyone fucking dies, and it's supposed to be sad and humiliating, and
Yeah.
no
Well,
one's happy.
yeah, it's like half the game you play as Ellie fighting against the guys who are killing your gang. Then halfway through you play as her enemy, and you become the protagonist, and who ends up killing Ellie out of revenge because her dad was the main character, the main villain, Abby. Her father was one of the surgeons that Joel killed at the end of Last of Us Part 1. So and then it's ends on the whole, cycle of revenge, man. Killing is bad, blah blah blah. Don't you feel bad, etc., etc. And it just sounds miserable and awful and kind of embarrassing, really.
God, if you want to make a game that isn't fun, you should make a movie that doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
That's just my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, so bravo Druckmann. Everybody's blaming Neil Druckmann for this, who is the creative lead of the Last of Us series, and I guess co-wrote Last of Us Part 2 and also Part 1. But this one just goes completely off the rails from what I've heard. The Last of Us Part 1 was at least tolerable at worst. The DLC, though, it really shows, in hindsight, the DLC, the Left Behind, I think is what it's called. It really, now in retrospect, shows some foreboding foreshadowing rather than, oh, this is just a bump in the road kind of deal. It definitely ham-fists a lot of politics, the DLC, and of course it really shoves that shit down your throat in Part 2. Yeah, so and if you look at Neil Druckmann's Wikipedia page, you definitely get the idea that he's aiming to be as progressive as possible. He was actually blamed as and I think they took quote unquote credit for removing Donut Drake from Uncharted 4, the fat mode.
Fuck him.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, that was one of my favorite Easter eggs.
It's not body positive and blah blah blah. And really, I was thinking about this earlier. Well, I'll get to it later because I want to get into everybody's saying, ever since Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog, the writing of their games has been going steeply downhill. She was the lead writer for the Uncharted series, parts 1 through 3, and she was credited for those stories actually being good. I think she's been on since or on the writing team since the Jack and Daxter series. So yeah, mad respect to her. But yeah, from what I've heard, she was forced out because of Neil Druckmann. I mean, I don't know if that's really the case for sure, but yeah, well, from what I know, at least, Neil Druckmann is the guy who repressed a lot of these, repressed like almost all criticism around Last of Us Part Two. And like he was so restrictive and demanding of his employees that a handful of them got extremely disgruntled and ended up leaking out the gameplay of Last of Us 2.
This may sound a bit weird, but he reminds me of Ellen DeGeneres in some ways.
Huh.
Like that whole "I'm progressive, I'm doing good here, but if I'll cut your head off behind your back" sort of deal.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking,
you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, and what I was thinking about today was how it really doesn't have much to do with diverse, like their own personal politics, as much as it is this sociopathic need for control. I think that, and I do think that ties into the social justice warrior mindset of if you don't believe what I believe, then there's a door. Like we want our own like little tribe here to all think the same way, but really it's about the person at the top being like, I'm in control of you. I get to control what you think, and if you don't like it, then you're the enemy. And it really is that mindset more than, because it can come from not just the left wing but right wing types of stuff, but it's really just boils down to that need for control over whatever other people think and what other people feel, and that's really creepy.
It kind of just hurts my heart that I liked a lot of the ideas of The Last of Us. I like the cordyceps fungus. It's a cool concept. But they fucking shit on it because it's in such a sad game,
Yeah. But but you see, the real enemy is not the zombies. The real enemy is racism or homophobia.
Bullshit.
Yeah. I always think about that screenshot from Left 4 Dead, the guy, that graffiti, and everybody just, all the other graffiti like notes just piling on top of that guy. It's like, the stuff like, like the statement is, maybe we're the real zombies, and all the other writing is just like, fuck you, man. I hope that they get you first, and stuff like that.
Yeah, so, like, can I make a little? Can I tell you how I would make that joke? That you'd have all the warriors out hunting monsters, and the guy who says maybe these monsters are people too, and then the monsters skin his face off very slowly.
Yeah.
Apologize.
Yeah. But I sent you that picture, that Twitter picture of the actress who did the motion capture for Ellie's girlfriend in the game, and how they just reduced the size. Like the real life actress has some like double D's, and the main character in the game is like almost completely flat.
Yeah, like that's kind of, I don't want to sound like I'm being weirder. That sounds kind of more sexist in a way.
Yeah, it's
you're
like, again, it's control over what you're allowed to see, and it's like
I don't. Yeah. Maybe it messes the mocap.
Yeah, like that's another thing that somebody brought up is men are easier to animate than women because men, you don't have to worry about the jiggle physics.
God.
Unless you're like animating a very specific game.
Yeah.
Like
I taught that.
It reminds me of the thing I first thought of was why Bully 2 got canceled is because they were working with testicle physics for when you kick an enemy in the crotch. But it's like, but then like I don't think it was the ESRB, but I think they were approached by somebody who was like, you can't do that with you can't animate underage boy testicles in a video game.
I love when someone had to tell him that. God.
Yeah. It's like like with the like the whole body stuff in Last of Us 2, It makes the outrage people had over reducing Tifa's boob size in Final Fantasy VII Remake, it makes it look trivial by comparison. Even though I still agree that they should have made Tifa's gazongas as big as they could without looking ridiculous, instead of making them look realistic. But yeah, it's definitely. I think that this really goes over the line with Last of Us 2. It's like you don't mess with the Milkies. That's you don't mess with the Milkies, or else there's gonna be the day of reckoning.
The nerd. I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm.
I get your scene. God, it's. Last of Us actually got me a little in the opening scene.
The what?
The base game is great when they have the daughter die in Joel's arms.
Yeah.
You don't get to play as Joel, do you?
No. As a matter of fact, that screenshot of the main character, or the Abby character with the golf club looking like a man, that's actually the scene where Joel gets killed by her.
Oh, well, they kill him?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's a man, or because they wanted to focus on Ellie or the strong female characters who all suck.
Oh, I I don't want to speak ill. Ellie had some cool moments, I'd say, maybe.
Yeah.
But Joel's got the arc,
Mm-hmm.
You get this arc with him.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's about as depressing as the game wants to make you feel, I guess. So mission accomplished on their part. But I don't know. I think that this whole black, hopeless, nihilistic tunnel is solely from the AAA game's perspective. I think that this too shall pass, and most of the future belongs to the indie scene. I think that with the advancement of technology, indie games are going to catch up to what AAA games were in maybe the PS2 era. We'll start seeing more games. I mean, there already are, really, really good 3D indie games. But I think that, as long as AAA games continue to go down this path, that only leaves more and more room for indie developers to pick up the slack. I think about Risk of Rain 2. That's a huge game right now.
I wish I'm gonna look that up. Well, I know nothing about it.
Yeah, there are.
I just know Cat. What's it?
Risk of Rain. I don't really know that.
I thought it was a game where you play as a cat. What the fuck?
I think that's the first game, and in the second game, they're all astronauts or something. I don't know. Again, it's Risk of Rain 2. The general idea of the game is it's a four-player cooperative third-person shooter. There's also another game that I found recently. I actually discovered on Twitter. I can't remember the name of the title off the top of my head, but it's styled in. It looks basically just like Star Fox. The original, not Star Fox 64, but the visual style looks more like the original Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. But it looks pretty good. It's in full 60 frames a second. It has really neat designs that they do with it, and I'm looking up the title right now because I have it on my wish list. It's going to be out in 2021, and it is called X Zodiac.
Obviously, when I talk about indie games, I always think about
What? Can you repeat that?
You can't get much. When I think of, oh shit, that X Zodiac looks good.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, there are animal characters that are the pilots.
It'd be cool if you could pick them out of a preset list.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that just makes me think. Unfortunately, Rick May passed. You know about that?
I know about that.
I didn't even realize that he
Soldier,
voiced
right?
Peppy. Yeah, he voiced Soldier,
No,
and he also voiced Peppy Hare from Star Fox.
I know him a little bit more Soldier, but like he seems like he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. I last night I rewatched Team Fabulous 2, which also was notable for having a big name who like whenever like I love Kideo 706's videos still to this day, but whenever I go back to there I always think to myself, man, he was gone too soon. And that's like whenever it's like, so it's like funny sad, you know. But
It
I'm always
seems that yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
There you go. You go.
I mean, it's just kind of like, I want to laugh, but at the same time, in the back of my head, I'm like, ah, So I don't know.
It's a cliche to say don't cry because they're gone, smile because they were here.
Yeah, that meme.
But
Yes.
I hate to say it, it kind of holds true a little bit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a meme, so it's like, God.
Yeah, but and also he was sort of like from a different era of YouTube. That was like his last video, I think, was 2012. No, it was 2015, but I think that he got big in 2012. So that makes me want to segue into the next talking point, which is YouTube filmmakers of that era.
YouTube had a different feel, you know?
Yeah, like when I say YouTube filmmakers, I'm talking mostly about. I remember Freddie Wong, when he was making those like super visually impressive at the time, visually impressive short films with his crew. And them in Corridor Digital, they had just like mastery over After Effects and just making these videos that got like hundreds of millions of tens of millions of views. At the time, that was like a billion views by today's standards. And yeah, they actually made me or convinced me to make more short films when I was in the film group. And yeah, I was thinking about revisiting some of their older stuff just to see if it'll like get me to start making movies again.
I had the idea of I kind of realized why I like trying to make movies. I like the idea that humans have this constant urge to share thoughts they had, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think that with Hollywood collapsing slowly but steadily in front of our eyes, we're going to see more independent filmmakers release on digital. I mean, I think that Netflix and Amazon are going to be the new Hollywood. I can't really see well, especially now with the whole COVID pandemic. Just theaters are not going to recover from this. They're not. Most of them are going to go the way of. They're going to be what comic shops are today. Is we're going to see
Don't say that.
Yeah, no, I think it's true. I mean, look at where comic shops are going to be dead by the end of this year. So I don't really see a future for movies. It's never going to be as big as they were in the past millennium, I guess, or the past century, because I think that the theater model has run its course. I think I'm safe in saying that, but I do think that they're still going to be around just as a niche thing. Unless they start like branching out. Sorry.
Go on.
I mean, unless they start branching out and doing more, I don't know, like I remember Red Letter Media speculating that they might go the sort of a luxury premiere route, where it's like like if Disney does like a like once in a lifetime sort of feature event for like $40 per person, that kind of thing. that then they might stick around like longer. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that for like independent films, and like independent films are going to be the new thing. They're going to be, the new thing for the masses. And like it's like I was saying with indie games, I'm optimistic for indie games being being the replacement for the sort of new golden age of video games. And I feel the same thing about indie movies. With I think that it's sort of been steadily building over the last last decade at least. Is because you have there's really no other where they have the Oscars for best short film, but really the only viable place to watch a short film other than the like uh movie houses that exclusively no, I mean, like I don't even know what movie theaters show short films anymore other than uh like the Apollo near where we live. I know
I admit I would do a lot to keep the Apollo in business.
Yeah, I think that
I
they'll stick
really
around.
like the Apollo.
I think they'll stick around because I think technically it's a historic site because it's been around so long.
I hope it doesn't play old 1950s movies.
Yeah, but they
Correction. Yeah.
Yeah, but they show opera there. They show different other things other than the movies, and I think other movie theaters do that too. But it's like, to what extent do you need to sell tickets in order to keep the doors open? And I think that more and more movie theaters for the rest of this year are going to be posed with that question if they haven't already. But what I was saying about short films is that the one place I go to watch short films is YouTube, well, yeah, just YouTube, really. That's the last place I looked for, short animated films. I just Google short animated films, just like YouTube, Vimeo, YouTube, maybe one or two Amazon Primes things. And I know that Netflix has their, I know Love, Death, and Robots was a collection of short films. I mean, big budget short films funded by Guillermo del Toro and other big names. But I think that the same could be said of, I think that going forward, we're going to see more indie people being sponsored by Netflix, sponsored by Amazon, and YouTube, and all these other places. And it's already happening, but I think that's going to happen in mass over the next year or two.
Have you noticed that whenever a big company tends to monopolize or when companies monopolize, it tends to suck?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what's happening right now.
Yeah. That's what I meant, like WWE, for example. I'm a huge fan of Jim Cornette, and he just fucking flips his shit about this new modern wrestling, like that COVID-19 match.
Uh-huh. I heard about this documentary on Netflix too, called Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah, he's in on it. Jim Cornette's on a few of them. Oh, it's on Netflix?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. I know what I'm doing after this.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize.
That's fine. I saw that they added a new episode of Tiger King, which is basically a recap or something, like live stream thing with it's like one of those thing afterwards, behind the scenes, what did it feel like to blah blah blah, what's your perspective? They have Joel McHale, I think, asking the questions to whoever they managed to get onto the show. So Carol Baskins is not one of the guests, neither is Joe Exotic, just anyone who was willing to swallow their pride and come on.
Yeah, but I think they did Carol dirty. I'm not gonna lie. I think they did Carol Baskins dirty. I don't think she killed her husband.
Yeah. And I think that they put enough ambiguity in there to sort of be maybe she did, maybe she didn't. But I do think that they did. Yeah, they may have sensationalized it a bit,
Yeah, and I can understand that one to come on after that.
Mm-hmm.
I just when you said the final another episode, I just pictured a Joe Exotic escaped from prison. I had the mental image of him sneaking in like a tiger whistle and blowing it, and the tigers come running through.
Mhm.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And what have you been watching on Netflix lately?
I haven't been watching as much on Netflix. I've been trying to get more into monster movies as a genre.
Mhm.
I've been digging deep.
Hmm.
I'm afraid that I'll be. I'm afraid that if I go any deeper into the monster movie genre, I'm going to look back at myself and come to the realization that
Hmm.
I've become the Eli Roth of kaiju.
Trying to think, like, are there any streaming sites where they film like, or like where they show kaiju movies?
No, they're scattered all over. You can find most of them on the internet.
Right. I mean, there's probably
I've
most
also
of them. I mean, most of them are probably on YouTube for free.
yeah, I've also been considering for my comic the idea of having a Power Ranger style thing where like not where or they have people who can turn giant like Ultraman.
Hmm.
Like that's what some special cops do. So it's like, do you have a permit for your giant irradiated beast? Proceeds to beat the fuck out of it. Because I hold to the idea that if you punch Godzilla in the eye, like a person with human level agility might throw a monster for a loop. You know?
Hmm.
But
You know, I
God.
heard, I heard that they're making a Gundam movie.
Oh, American?
Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah. I hope that I'm cautiously optimistic about it.
I hope that it's directed by the guy who did Resident Evil.
Oh. I mean, I'll
He's
wait.
doing
Like I know that, yeah, he's doing the Monster Hunter movie.
God, that's just how would you feel if they redesigned the Gundam to be more realistic?
Have they redesigned what?
What if they made a hyper realistic Gundam where it's like completely smooth?
I mean, they like with Gundam. I think that you could do well with making it more like realistic. I don't think that it could be. It would be that jarring to make it. I don't know.
Reformer.
Yeah.
I was
With all the like, I think Bayformers are more. They're overly excessive with the moving parts and everything.
God. Apparently, did I show you that Ava design where I had like the bug armor?
The Ava design.
Yeah, like Discord next to her send you. Like there was an Ava design. It's the real concept for Hollywood Avas, I call it. The Avas were going to be like bug armor. They're going to have
Mhm.
like insect hairs.
Right. Yeah.
It's above.
Yeah. So it was going to be like a living bug or like a machine bug.
It was going to be like a living bug, but it had like an organic cockpit.
Hmm. Yeah. I guess that's
And
not. I guess that's not too far removed from the Ava in the original.
I kind of hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's not a good Ava, but like that would be an amazing concept for like a monster or
Hmm.
something. It strikes me as something that Nerve would do if he didn't want to use Avas.
Hmm. Yeah. It makes me sort of nostalgic for. Well, I mean, it doesn't really have much to do with live action remakes, but I was thinking about sort of the difference between localization and dubbing or translation, and how. Well, the first thing I thought of was the localization of Sailor Moon when the Deke dub, and I think we talked about this before, but I think it bears repeating. I mean, I don't think that the Deke dub of Sailor Moon is good. As a matter of fact, I think it's objectively bad, but it has this sort of charm to it that like the later VIZ dub didn't really have. And I think that and yeah, with like stuff like humor doesn't really translate well to America. America language. So
The American. I
yes.
heard the term used cultural odor. God.
Yeah.
I thought that's Nintendo's term.
Mm-hmm. And
I thought that was interesting.
yeah, I like the going back to The Last of Us and did you see that thing I sent you on Discord where it compares Neil Druckmann's statement on we don't say the word fun when we're developing Last of Us 2 and comparing it to Reggie saying no, if it's not fun, why bother?
God, yeah. Reggie should I'm just picturing Neil Druckmann as Liu Kang and he's at the Mortal Kombat tournament and he turns around and Reggie's Goro walking down the tournament. No, he's not even Liu Kang. He's the guy who gets broken half by Goro.
Mm-hmm.
God. I love Reggie. Reggie has a lot of good views on medium. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah, we have nothing but love here, but for Reggie.
And it started as you know what I mean, right? The meme started.
I mean, if we don't profess our love for Reggie every other episode, then he will come to our house and crush us.
It's not even that, you know how in Ava they do a thing where they glare and they do the shine and then the explosion happens.
Yeah.
That's how he gets rid of her. Yeah.
Finish your thought. All right, I guess I'll go on ahead from that. Well, speaking of Ava, have you seen Bubblegum Crisis? You there? All right. I guess that Zach is disconnected right now.
That's how he gets rid of other free fans.
Okay. You there?
Testing.
I'm here.
I have not seen Bubblegum Crisis.
Okay.
I was saying about I have not seen Bubblegum Crisis. My lawyer has instructed me to say as such.
I did not have sexual relations with that waifu.
All right, so what's Bubblegum Crisis?
It's the anime that Hideki Anno worked on before doing Ava.
I see.
So there's a lot of tropes in Bubblegum Crisis. Or no, I'm thinking of fucking what's it called? No, I'm thinking of Gunbuster.
Oh, yeah, Gunbuster, I know, but looking at Bubblegum Crisis, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, Gunbuster was to the point that he even wanted to make Shinji a girl.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to what I said a while back about if they made Shinji a girl, then the people would be more sympathetic to him, and I guess that's proven in Gunbuster. I almost said Bubblegum Crisis again. I don't know why I keep confusing those two.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you think if Shinji was a girl, that Kaoru would have been a girl, or do you think that he would have still been a guy?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that he would have been a girl.
I wonder that too.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. That also raises the question: would Rei and Asuka be girls too? Because I think that it depends on if girl Shinji has daddy issues or mommy issues. I don't know. It's you really have to sort of retool the whole dynamic between all these characters to really figure out who would be who.
I need to go through the show again. The show. I also have been reading a lot of the behind the scenes for Ava. The concept art's fucking fantastic for Ava. They had some cool ideas. But then the Evangelion design, I would consider perhaps to be the best mecha ever made. And yeah, I like Gundams. Yeah.
You ever watched The Big O?
I have seen The Big O, but I need to look at the mecha as I talk to you.
I've heard that if you're going to watch The Big O, watch season 1 and then just stop.
Yeah, I heard the same thing.
Yeah, Apparently, it was made to
Yeah,
end on a
I've seen
cliffhanger,
like
and
the
then
first 3 episodes.
yeah, or I heard that the first season was made to end on a cliffhanger, and then they had no plans to finish it, which strikes me as really odd. But like Toonami was just throwing money at them to finish, like to do another season, and then they did it. And because they didn't have any idea what they were going to do with it, then it just ended up being kind of like, I don't know, everybody's like in a simulation or whatever. I don't know, like just throwing random stuff at the wall and just praying that people would, watch.
Okay, you know what I kind of want to do now? I love the design of the arms. I forgot the arms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah. I
I
saw,
like mechas that don't. Yeah,
or sorry, go ahead.
there you go.
Well, I was going to go off of that, and because I know that people have compared when they bring up Big O, they're like, "Oh, you mean Batman meets Gundam?" And I think to myself, it would be neat, like it made me think about Batman Beyond. How it would be neat to get it would be neat to get a DC movie that's a good DC live action version of Batman Beyond with, of course, Michael Keaton as the old Batman training Terry as the new Batman.
Ooh, I like that a lot.
Yeah, everybody
I would.
wants. Yeah, everybody wants Michael Keaton to be old Bruce Wayne, but I think that's a little obvious. So, like, who would you want to be old Bruce Wayne?
George Clooney.
Oh, I was about to say him. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like George Clooney as Batman. I kind of do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why. I think it's just George Clooney's magnetism.
Yeah.
That and I like George Clooney.
Yeah. On the subject of
You know what
casting.
I was reading? I was sorry. We were talking about Beyond and got me thinking about comics. I read perhaps the weirdest comic concept of all time, but really got into it.
Hmm.
It's called Kong on the Planet of the Apes. Where the monkeys are. We have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it made Dr. Zayas the good guy.
They made who the good guy?
The orangutan.
Okay.
The one who's like, kill the human. He's a fucking human. Kill him. It's the gorillas who are like, yeah, let's bring the fucking gorilla to the island. But let's also bring velociraptors too. But it kind of works. Skull Island and existing in the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize.
That's fine. But I was gonna say, like, on the subject of casting, because I was watching a video. Liam Triforce, he does like these long form video game retrospectives. He was doing a retrospective on the Metroid Prime series, and it just made me think about how I was saying, oh, I would cast Uma Thurman as like older Samus Aran. But if I was going to do like a Metroid movie with I guess regular age Samus, I don't know. I was racking my brain, and I guess maybe Dakota Fanning. I don't know. I haven't seen any picture for her lately. Or I don't even know if she's doing work nowadays in Hollywood. But I don't know. That was just my first thought.
Changed
What?
my answer.
To what?
I changed my Batman answer.
Okay.
Old Hugh Jackman.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be a Batman. He's got that raw emotion and the reference to possibly being Darkblade.
Hmm.
Are you familiar with Darkblade?
No.
Is that his name, Darkclaw?
Oh, is that the Batman with like knife hands?
Yeah. It's the most autistic idea ever. I'm like, yes. Darkclaw.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love it. I love how bad an idea it is.
Yeah. It just makes you think of that Batman comic where he's a vampire.
Oh my god. What haven't they done with Batman? Robin, I'm sad to tell you, I have syphilis. What?
I was impregnated with Spider-Man's sperm, and now I'm dying of cancer.
They did a couple of comics where they reveal that Bruce Wayne in another universe is Spider-Man's uncle. Apparently, his sister that he never knew ran off with some young, handsome scientist named Parker.
Do you think they'll ever do like a DC Marvel crossover movie?
They have to do the amalgam universe for me to be happy.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because how they have to do it in my perfect version, here's what they have to do. They have to amalgam the two best actors and do it digitally. So they have to combine Michael Keaton and do it like I'm shitposting here, but like
Mhm.
make them all CG heads.
Yeah. Ugh. Oh,
You know if they knew they'd get the money back.
yeah. Look forward to that in 2030 when Disney owns the world.
Sold my soul to the Disneyland store.
Mhm. Uh, what else? Oh yeah, on the subject of apes, I was watching Gigaboot's playthrough of the Ape Escape games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like they. I think they just made it to the Ape Escape Japanese only games. So stuff like, or no, the spin-off games, because not just because there's the one where you vacuum the monkey's pants off with a vacuum cleaner. Which is I think it's basically the first game but you run around with a vacuum cleaner and suck off monkeys' pants. And I remember reading about that in a gaming magazine, like around the time it came out in Japan.
God.
But the one I was looking forward to them playing
I
was
feel
the one I was looking forward to them playing was Million Monkeys, which was a game that I was looking forward to when they announced it on I think GameSpot back in the day. And I was like, "Oh, this looks good. This looks like everything I wanted out of a sequel to the first game." Because the first game had like sort of a, I guess, darker or more serious tone than the other two sequels. But watching them play it, it doesn't. It looked like it would have completely not lived up to my I mean, I might have loved it at the time when I was like, I guess 14 or 15, because it has this sort of EDF vibe to it. But
I always liked Ape Escape. You know, it had a crossover with Metal Gear.
yeah, that was in the third game.
God,
It
that's
was
the
in
weirdest crossover.
yeah, it was in both the third Ape Escape game and the third Metal Gear Solid game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there's a mode in Metal Gear Solid 3 where you can run around and capture the monkeys.
I really wish that if you did that, like a monkey would show up. You could play the game, you know, with like a monkey mask on.
Oh yeah.
Just Snake going through a solid, you know, deep metaphor like uh no, but he's got the monkey face on.
Mm-hmm. I think there actually
Uh,
is a mask in that where you get to have the monkey mask.
I skinned him. Uh,
But I think that talking about Ape Escape that makes me think about what I said about localization versus dubbing and how
yeah.
Ape Escape 1, they had more freedom with what they could translate stuff into. So that's what I mean by localization is you don't translate everything literally, which is what I think they did in 2 and 3, especially 3, because I remember hearing that the translation for 3 is really kind of janky. A lot of the words and phrases don't really match up or they don't sound natural. But with Ape Escape 1, the dialogue feels a lot more natural. It's not perfect, and especially with the slapdash voice actors that they got, who aren't working in the voice acting industry anymore. They haven't voiced anyone else from what I know. And there are some voices, and I didn't realize this, but there's a cutscene when you get back to the present, and there's this guy being chased by a monkey on a motorcycle, and his voice sounds like a kid doing a adult's voice. And the reason for that is because in the credits, there's only one credit for additional voices, and it's this female voice actor. So it was really a woman doing a man's voice. She was just pitching her voice down. So I thought that was interesting.
I like when they do stuff like that. Can I
Yeah.
share with you probably the coolest thing I found out? So in Ava, this is an Ava fact, I'm sorry. You know the Evangelion's roars the woman's voice really, really sped down, right?
Mm-hmm.
when she goes berserk and roars, it is kind of weirdly it's worse to hear a woman make the noise than a monster, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, in the dub, they didn't bring that over.
Hmm. Oh.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
But yeah, in Ape Escape 1, there's a lot of I think all the female voices, they all sound like moms, especially the computer girl with the green hair, Cassie. She definitely sounds like somebody's mom. And it's weird.
I like how you say they sound like a mom.
Yeah, it's always weird
Because
when they yeah, it's always weird whenever they get a voice actor who's like you can older to the point where you can tell that they're like a generation above the character that they're voicing.
God.
Yeah, and it's funny because like Cassie is like supposed to be like I think like 14-year-old girl, and the voice sounds like a 50-year-old woman saying it. Like, Spike, something has gone terribly wrong. It's like, I don't know. I think
I have a question. Do you ever watch the Video Bruncado videos or seen clips or reviews of them?
It sounds familiar. Is that from Cinema Snob?
Ratatouille.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Do you recognize any of those voice actors? Because they're like all over.
Well, I know that Ratatouille, Patton Oswalt voices one of the characters.
God.
Yeah, somehow they got him to do that.
God.
And they were sort of making fun of him in the Red Letter Media Best of the Worst. They're like, when the episode they brought him on.
I like Patton Oswalt on that.
Yeah. So it's a shame that he. I don't know if I want to say it on here because even though it's a meme, it's kind of you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
no,
implication.
say it in Discord. Say it in the private chat.
Well, I'll say it here and say, I don't believe that this is actually true. Don't sue me, please. But there's like a rumor that he killed his wife.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, because he like remarried like a month after she died or something.
Yeah, yeah.
So I don't actually believe
it's a
this.
joke.
I'm
It's
not,
a meme.
Yeah, I'm
Neither do I.
Yeah. Like,
look at it the same way Carol Baskin killed her husband. It's just a meme.
Allegedly
Possibly with Carol.
Yeah, allegedly is our safe word.
Yeah. Yeah, allegedly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Patton Oswalt's one of our most fervent fans.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's not like I'm saying allegedly because I'm putting we're putting our real names out here, and we don't have the anonymity to say that Patton Oswalt did not murder his wife and then remarry for money, and also is I don't know. I'm tired. It's hot in here. Yeah, I'm glad for the warm weather finally, but now it's like I gotta readjust all over again to like warm weather again. Yeah. And anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
One last thing. I have a strange theory about Evangelion. That I have a theory that that in the early art design, it was going to be more stylized like the Big O, like in themes.
Mm-hmm.
Because just looking at like the old Ava design, it looked like something, more Dickie, and it was like, no, we gotta make this bitch crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you see the early design, yeah, rambling.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna take a nap.
Yeah.
I feel like an old man saying that.
Yeah. I'm the opposite because in case you haven't been able to tell, I've had some caffeine today. And like yesterday, I was trying to go the whole day without caffeine, which I succeeded at. But now because I've suddenly had a boost in caffeine, I'm all over the place. But I think in my opinion, I've been managed to hold it together for as long as humanly possible for this episode.
Yeah, well, I think you've been good.
Yeah, Well, thank you.
I
I
think
agree.
this has been a good. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I now have a Patreon.
Okay.
I
You
will
want
be
to
leaving it in the next second.
you want to plug it?
But no, it's not even close to being done yet. I need to get a good banner,
Okay.
a
Well,
good logo design.
Okay, well, I will plug mine / ours for this. In order, if you want, if you, the one viewer watching, want to see more high quality episodes, donate to our Patreon, and I will donate that money to Zach to fix his crappy internet. And we'll have like if we get enough money, we'll be able to, fund some decent quality audio setup. So in the coming months, as the coronavirus eats away at more of our population, more of our people continue to die, and more of our people are confined to their homes / bunkers, we'll be able to sound perfectly squeaky clean through our high quality microphones that you have generously donated to us in lieu of rations, food, and medicine.
We will die, but we will die with our voices heard.
Yeah. And also, this also will go towards half will go to this fine program. The other half will go to the fine comics / creative projects I will be working on the side. I've been thinking about doing some video essays as well. One that I have in the works, or at least, and by works I mean in the back of my head, is a essay about music in comics, how sound in general, but specifically music, is communicated through a medium that's, like, for the most part, audio is non-existent. So look forward to that. If you want to watch it, go pay me money, pay Zach money when he has his money Patreon system up and running.
Toss a coin to your monster slayer.
Yeah, toss a coin to your local Z/T. Anything more you want to add?
No.
Right.
Well, I do have something I would like to add. I've been Zach.
I've been Tony, and this has been the Monkey Bar.
Bye.
Bye.